You are listening to Conversations with the Citizen.
Thank you for joining us. This is Bren Sharif, your host for Getting Your House in Order. And today I am very honored and pleased to have famed star of both stage and screen, the one and only, unbeatable, irrepeatable, Dr. Veronica Walker-Douglas. Dr. Walker-Douglas and I met a few weeks ago, although we belong to the same organization. We're both members of Christ Universal Temple, but had never met. And she was a part of a panel, and they talked about something that, as I write my column on Getting Your House in Order, that I encounter with those clients that I make every effort to serve and meet their needs, the question of grief. And that is something that is so deep and so steeped. And sometimes I think it's very cultural. So I'll ask you, Dr. V, that's my nickname or pet name for her, Dr. V, am I correct that in the African American culture, there's a little difference, some nuances in how we handle grief?
For sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me to talk about this very relevant process, because that's what it is. It's a process.
It is a
sure.
process.
And yes, in our grief is very cultural, and a lot of times people don't look at that piece because we want to say grief and we want to put a blanket over it. But yes, in our culture, African American, we are taught to grieve differently.
Yes.
And even to look for support in different ways. So you're absolutely right. And I think that that's what clinically, when we're looking at grief, we're able to make some adjustments to that so that we won't lump grief and everyone that's experiencing it into one big pile.
Yes.
Right.
And as you say, we all want to, when you hear the word, it's one word, but it has so many different aspects, so many components. There can be the grief of loss, which is death. And I think most of us, when we hear grief, we think of death. But that is a physical death. There's death of other things.
Yes.
There's death of health.
Yes.
There's death of broken relationships, whether it's a spousal or whether a child and parents. People have deaths to their relationships.
Yes.
Are there other types of death that you have seen in your clinical practice?
For sure. So when you think, like you said, grief is loss, any significant loss. I was ironically, everything happens for a reason. I was driving here today and I came from Northwest Indiana and I'm looking at loss all around. And there is a grieving process going on. People have lost their homes.
Yes.
They've lost their livelihood because their stores are closed, right? So just various, like you said, loss of relationships, loss of health.
Yes.
Retirement can be a loss for people, right?
Yes.
So anything that we feel like we're moving from can be experienced and felt as a loss. Even things that are happy. Ending a doctoral program can feel like a loss because it's like, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
And I felt that.
What do I do now?
What do I do? So yes, any transition can be experienced as a loss for sure.
And I think that is very important as we examine ourselves and as we observe those that are in our immediate environment, that we recognize that maybe they are suffering a loss of whatever it is. What are some, and let's do some easy things, retirement. Because most of the people that I work with are retired or anticipating that.
Yes.
And I have some suggestions for them, but I'd like to hear the $10 recommendations
for people who are planning to retire.
Well, yes. Let's do preventative. Yes. Let's do the preventative so that they don't fall into where they feel it is a loss,
Absolutely.
but they feel it is a gain. And then those that unfortunately did not plan
For sure.
and find themselves in the doldrums.
Yes, you know, everything that we're talking about today, I have context for it.
Yes.
I was in the shop and in the nail shop, and the nail tech was saying, you know, I had these friends and they retired, had nothing to do, and they passed on, literally.
Yes.
Because of that sense of purpose was gone for them. The lady in the next chair says, how could that ever be? How could anyone not have nothing to do? And she started rattling off of all the things, and she was smiling because she had purpose.
Yes.
And that's how she equated the avoidance of that loss when you retire, is to have a sense of purpose,
Yes.
P, and I would say a plan, 2.
Okay.
And giving yourself 3, permission.
Okay.
Right? So that you're trying, when you're moving around, you're saying, okay, I don't do this anymore, but this is what I can do. So she says, I'm busier now than I've ever been. And I hear that all the time.
Yes.
But if you make that retirement, and some people, let's remember, are forced to retire. They didn't choose. I have a very young friend of mine, and I say young because she's 61.
Yes.
But she was forced to retire, and she's experiencing a loss, and she doesn't know the purpose right now.
Yes.
Right? So that would be very important to be able to say, okay, this is happening. What's next?
Yes.
Because I could still serve. We don't retire from life.
Right.
We don't retire from the journey.
Yes.
Right. And I think it's reframing.
And that, I think, is a good, ecologically, they're talking about repurposing items.
I love that.
And recycling, repurposing items. And years ago, there was, I can't remember the gentleman that wrote A Purpose-Driven Life.
Oh, yeah.
Rick Warren.
Rick Warren, okay. So, a purpose-driven life. So, in anticipation, and we know it's going to happen at some point in time, as they say, plan your work and work your plan.
Yes, ma'am.
And that would keep a large segment of our population from going into what I call it disconnected, because they don't have a purpose.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
plan for it, find your purpose,
Yes.
and then give yourself permission to take whatever time it is for you to connect.
Yes.
Is that the lesson?
Yes, absolutely. You got it.
Okay.
Yes,
You heard it
absolutely.
right. You heard it right here. It didn't cost a dime,
$10.
but that was a $10 version that they got for free. All right. And as they say, and no coupons necessary, because we're going to come up with some other golden nuggets.
For sure.
So that is something, and I'm sure that the identification of that grief is probably for families, they don't recognize it's grief.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's they don't define it that way.
For sure.
And therefore, if you don't define it, you can't correct it or do those things that help.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of the things that you would suggest a family member? Perhaps it's their grandparent, or it's could even be their spouse. Because a lot of times spouses don't retire at the same time.
That is true.
And there is a change in behavior.
Right.
What would you suggest for a spouse that has had a spouse that did not find their purpose prior to retirement? What would your suggestion be that
Yes.
the family can do?
I think the first thing is not to judge them. Because judge, you put us both in jail. I'm putting you in jail and I'm putting myself in jail.
And no bond. No
Thank
bail.
you. Thank you. Absolutely. You know, you should have did this 10 years
Yes,
ago.
yes.
See, now we're going to get real caught up. And it's going to be a spiral, right?
Yes.
So here, let's stay present.
Yes.
You know, we talk about mindfulness all over the
Yes.
place. And then some people say, oh, it's too much about that. No, present.
Yes.
What can we do today to move you, my dear spouse,
Yes.
forward? And what can we, not just you,
Yeah.
what can we? Because see, they already feel isolated. I don't
Yes.
have the co-workers. I don't have that sense of team.
Yes.
Well, you and I are still a team.
Yes.
And help them go back in time to rewrite the narrative. What is it that you like to do? Because you've been spouses long enough maybe that you've watched, you've observed, and you know what your spouse likes to do. And that's a lot of time that purpose is found in what could you do all day?
Now, but that other spouse has to work. They can't do that all day. I'm only joking.
Right, no, absolutely. Yeah, to take out segmented times for sure. Yeah,
I'm just trying to be a little, interject a little humor.
I understand, but yeah, just being able to when you can, right,
Yes.
in your own time, and not being resentful either, because that could be a big issue. I've heard people talk about, well, I got to get up and go to work every day and have these long lists,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Working with.
Yes.
Working with, like, we are still a team. What is it that you'd like to do, and help nurturing that, helping find. And if you see depression, note it.
Yes.
Note it, because that is often very, well, they don't talk anymore. They're real this. They don't sleep well.
Yes.
Observe.
Yes.
Stay curious about the behaviors you see, and be willing to say, you want to talk about this or that.
Right.
That communication is key.
And your doctorate in marriage and family therapy is showing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is
Systemic.
showing. Yes,
We're
yes,
a system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm full of a lot of cliches. And one of the cliches that I have, it's always better together. And so if you have a spouse that has retired, and if you're noticing some of this despondency, lack of enthusiasm for things, then you'd say, hey, let's do some, what did we used to do?
Yes.
How did we enjoy?
I don't have a lot of time,
Yeah,
but can
yeah,
we? Right?
yeah.
Can we do some things together when I get home?
Let's do some things together and be
Yes.
purposeful in planning those things. I'm often reminded of jokes when I talk to folks, and they say that there was this couple that had been married for a long time, and when they first got together, they used to have the bench seats in the front rather than the bucket seats like they have now. And they used to go on a long drive. And so to add a little spice to their life, they decided they'd go on a long drive on a Sunday afternoon, just like they used to do. And the wife, who was kind of the kvetcher, the husband just kind of went along. She said, when we used to ride, you used to have me all cuddled up, and he said, I ain't moved.
I love it. Reality. Okay.
The reality. You complain about something, but you're that cause. She could have moved over instead of castigating him for not huddling up with her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I love that.
Exactly.
No, absolutely.
Exactly.
That's a great,
it's like
great
the pot talking about the kettle.
and not looking at
what, hey, Johnny used to say that. Before you point a finger at someone else, remember there are fingers pointing back at you. Right. And so sometimes what we see, we are in the midst of that problem. And we are the ones that now can solve them.
Yes, I love that.
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Just stay aware, for sure.
Just stay aware. Another aspect of grief, and we just talked about those couples that have stayed together. Sometimes there are dissolution of marriages, and even though it is a process, everyone is not in the same place in the same space as they go through those steps to dissolve. So what would you suggest for those people that have promised until death do them part, and they find out they're still living?
Yes.
And that has, but they are parting.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions as to what they can do to prepare for that time, or if they're in that time?
Believe it or not, couples therapy is very wonderful at that time, because people think that they have an idea that couples therapy is to keep couples together. That's not what we're about.
Okay.
We're about, what do you want to do and how can we help you?
Okay.
And so I've had not that many, but some who've come and says, we're about to file the papers, but we want to be amicable.
There you go.
And getting that and having someone that's totally objective to kind of say, okay, here's this, here's that, now what? So that would be one of the number one, and it doesn't have to be a therapist. It could be someone you trust. It could be a minister, but someone who can give you that ear
That
and
objectiveness.
mediate.
The
Yes,
objectiveness is the,
absolutely.
you don't want to go to your mother-in-law.
Thank you.
She might not be the one.
No,
She might not be the one.
absolutely. No, absolutely. Because see, you can take that voluntarily. Because in some states, you are mandated to mediation before you divorce. They have. I think some parts of California is still like that. So let's just be proactive. Let's
Yes.
just go on in, have a couple of sessions, and work that through.
Have you said you haven't had that many, but do you have a successful story that you can share with us?
Of a couple that came to me that we did some initial sessions, and then they stopped coming. So, but in the session, I saw shifts.
Okay.
I saw anger dissipating, and that's really important. And I saw more of a willingness. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. But what about who? The children.
Yes.
So I did see that, and I hope they carry that, and that's kind of all you can hope for.
Yes.
Ironically, my doctoral project was on remarriage, so I had to do a lot of research on divorce. But I was more concerned of what brings people a second time around.
Yes.
So, but you gotta get at a place that you're at peace with what has happened, and then I don't have to hold this, and I can move forward.
Yes.
And that's what counseling can do. That divorce is traumatic.
Yes, it is.
Accept
and
that.
you said something that turned on a light. The children in that divorce. I was looking at a documentary the other day about the Onassis family. And Christina Onassis, and I can't remember her brother's name. His name evades me, but it was Aristotle Onassis' 2 children.
Wow.
He had divorced their mother. And the children, even though they had divorced and were leading their own lives, the 2 children always held that in their mind that they were going to be able to pull their parents back together. And as a result, both of them were adversely affected. Unfortunately, the son died in a plane crash, and Christina died very young from drug addiction. Because when Aristotle married Jackie, then that possibility, that fantasy, if you will, it was gone. And so what do you suggest to either of the 2 spouses when they have children that are a part of their marriage? What do you suggest they do in lessening that pain, hurt, anger that the children may have about the dissolution of that marriage?
Sure. Key thing, listen.
Yes.
Listen. Make sure you're listening to your children, and they may not be talking to you, but behavior speaks volumes. So watch what you're seeing, observe the children, give them an opportunity to say what they're feeling.
So are you suggesting a family meeting?
Family meetings would be wonderful. Family therapy would be, everything's always back to therapy.
Hey, let's get them $10 fees and but you've got in most of us have insurance.
Yes.
So this is going to be covered under that medical
Absolutely.
coverage.
And hopefully we continue to expand mental health services so that, people are getting more sessions. But, some people even have EAP through their jobs, right? But yeah, if you can bring them in pre so that you don't have to wait. Because a lot of the people we see in therapy as adults are products of unresolved issues related to things like divorce.
Wow.
And they carry that into their marriages, and I've got to save this marriage because I don't want to end up like that, right? No matter what, I'm going to hold on.
Yes.
But then I'm going to also project that fear onto my partner. So we might as well clear a little bit of this up so that we don't continue to have generational divorce.
Yeah.
And
that just says so much to me, because so many times a murky glass of water will never get clean unless you pour clean water into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it sounds to me that you're saying that this is something that can prevent
Yes.
this murkiness from just settling there and becoming stagnant
Absolutely.
and affecting all parties.
For sure.
including-
Because we
Yes.
don't want to address it. We're really kind of stuck on us as a
Yes.
couple.
Yes.
But these are the ones. We got to look systemically at the whole family. Are there other ways to support and keep some normalcy for the children? However that looks, keep some normalcy.
Yes.
Back to California, this probably is really old, but in California, they don't have, you take the kids and you do this. There is a parental home, and you parents, you come back and forth, but the kids don't move. That's normalcy.
And that is normalcy. And I bring this out, I'm not going to say who it is,
Okay.
but I will say the state of Delaware, very specifically. I know of a family where they had joint custody. And in this joint custody, and I said, this is crazy. The child and the parents were never married.
Oh,
They
okay.
were never married, so they never even lived together. But the courts have deemed that the parents share custody of the child. Now, this is when the child was a baby. 1 week with one parent, 1 week with the other parent. Well, when the children are very young, that may not be as detrimental as I see it. But when the child gets to be in school,
Yes.
and then one parent, usually they go to the school where one parent lives, and so they have their cluster of friends
Thank you.
in that same school. But then when they go to the other parent, even though they're coming back to school, they don't have that after,
Thank you.
And so when the other children, as they grow older and become more connected as a social group, this child is not a part of that because he wasn't there in those after school hours.
There you go. That's it.
And my heart aches for that child.
Yes.
He's now a teenager, and I thought that generally courts would say when a child reaches 12, that was that age of discernment, and they could make a decision which parent to
Yes.
stay with. But undoubtedly the law in Delaware is that it's 18.
Wow. Yeah. And see, now you're speaking to larger systemic issues,
Exactly.
right? Bringing these systems in place. Let's be uniform.
Yes, but, and adolescence is hard enough anyway.
So why add any? No, absolutely.
As they say, adolescence ain't no joke.
No.
It's a stage of life when people are realizing who they are and the uncertainties that might be presented from external things are really all balled up in that stuff with what they're feeling internally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so you want to have as much stability as you
Exactly,
can.
exactly. They're working through it, and
Good.
I'm just an outsider.
Yeah,
Looking
but you're
in.
looking, and like you said,
Yeah.
it's disheartening.
Yeah, it is very disheartening.
And that's why we need definitely family law and advocacy is so important.
And that reminded me of something that's even closer to home, and that is moving. When a child is uprooted,
Oh my goodness.
and you were talking about their normalcy, when you're uprooted from where you have been,
Yes.
it really changes how you think and how you feel
Thank you.
about relationships as you go into your adult life.
You're right.
I was one of those children. And people say, well, was your father in the military? I said, no, that's not what, they used to call, they used to call us the gypsies. Because in a nanosecond,
Gone.
we'd move. And so the permanency of relationships, they were very ephemeral.
Absolutely.
Just ball it up and throw it away. That one's gone. What's
Yes,
next?
Yes. On to
in a
the
way,
next.
it makes me very adaptable, but sometimes you need closer relationships.
Absolutely.
You know,
For
and-
that sense of self.
Exactly, exactly.
Absolutely.
So there are, as they say, your field is very broad,
Oh yeah.
very, very broad.
And you
with
always
what you
have
do.
different ways to look at things and give clients different perspectives.
And that I think is something that counseling helps. And we have a cultural thing about counseling. I myself had a concern when my mother died. It was like you said after your doctoral program, what do I do now? And I had involved myself so deeply in the care of my mother. I knew every day what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, and it was tick tock, tick tock,
Thank
tick
you.
tock, tick tock. I had a ritual and a routine that all of a sudden it's gone.
Yes.
My guardrails were gone. And I can't say that I had deep sorrow. I didn't have deep sorrow
Got it.
because I know the truth. Because
Yes.
I go to see you too.
Absolutely.
And I knew it was her decision. And anything Mama wants,
She gets.
Mama gets.
Mama.
So I didn't have that kind of thing, but it was, what do I do now with my life? Where do I go? And I made that decision to take counseling.
Wow.
And that is something that we as a community don't tend to want to do. Case in
Yes.
point, they're both gone, and so it doesn't hurt anyone. I had a cousin that was having some challenges. They had never told her, neither her father's side of the family nor her mother's side of the family where I am. No one had ever told her she was adopted. And her mother had a child that was her natural child
Oh, okay. That's your cat.
that she kept, that was her, I mean, was from another marriage. And so when my aunt got married again, rather than having children, her husband had a niece that got pregnant, and they took that niece's child, which was my cousin.
Thank you.
She never knew it.
Okay.
And and then my aunt and her husband divorced, leaving this child, my cousin, out there kind of thrown to the wind. And she could not understand why her mother, who she thought was her blood mother, favored her son rather than her. So she sought counseling. That was a wise thing for her to do, to get this stuff together.
Absolutely. I love that she
And
sought counseling.
She sought counseling. And so the counselor, at some point in time, I don't know how long she'd been receiving it, suggested that she bring her mother in. Because, see, the counselor didn't know that was not her natural daughter.
Thank you.
Neither of them
Yes.
knew. So she asked my cousin to ask her mother to come into a session.
Wow.
So my cousin went to her mother to ask, Mom, come with me for a session. And my aunt unfortunately said, quote, "You're the crazy one. I don't need counseling." That was devastating to her. And to even make it more devastating, when she came to me, she said, why would Mom do that?
Absolutely.
And she was in her 50s at that time.
Wow.
And I had to really go deep inside. Do I tell the naked truth?
Thank you. Yeah.
Or do I keep this, what I considered unnecessary, secret?
Family secrets, yeah.
And I told her the truth.
Oh, wow.
And the expression on her face, you know how they say your life runs before you?
You could see
Oh, I was really concerned. I said, I've opened Pandora's box.
Oh, for sure.
And so what do I do? And when she came to herself, she said, thank you for loving me enough to tell me the truth.
Wow.
Thank you for loving me. Well, the mother and the brother did not love me because they said,
I'm sure.
I stepped beyond my bounds. But I saw a person that was hurting, and I addressed, I did what I thought was needed to do. And I think sometimes, as I reflect on that for myself, sometimes it is uncomfortable. And maybe people will be hurt. But it's almost like cleaning your house.
Yeah.
To really clean your house, you got to tear it up.
Yes, go under.
You got to go under and pull out all that stuff before you can set order back in it.
For sure.
Do you find that in your counseling?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And that's why a lot of times we go back to come forward. You know, there's that whole psychodynamic approach, but I think it's so important because what's the story you've been telling yourself is based on something. So let's figure out where that comes from. Let's put it right here on the imaginary table and let's kind of pull it back, pull back the layers, and so we can get to where we need to go now.
As they used to say, getting down to the real nitty gritty.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Getting to the real nitty gritty.
For sure.
We have talked about grief, and the main part of the grief for most of us happens to be when a loved one dies. And whatever existed then, if you have not resolved it, it's like the finality.
Oh,
this is it.
For sure. For sure. Absolutely.
How do you help your patients that may be suffering from grief as a result of death? What is your approach, or what would you suggest that a person that is suffering from grief as a result of loss?
Right, so what we're doing is we're telling them we need to have some basic things established. That this is a natural response to the death of someone that was important to you, be them friend, dog, pet, whatever. This is a natural response, and it's not linear, right? You're not going to go through the stages of grief, and Kubler-Ross never meant for that to be so confining, but you're going to go in and out. It's a cycle. It's natural. And self-acceptance, wherever you are, is okay, right? Whether you're still in, and I'm going back to her stages, wherever you are in your process is your process. And this whole level of being where I am, we have to get to that. And at some point, you will come to a different relationship. That's my own mix of, there will be a different relationship with this person who's passed on. And you'll be able to live in the memory as opposed to the sense of dread that's happening. And stay aware of your body. There may be tiredness, there may be body aches, there may be a lot of things. Stay aware of your thoughts. What could I have done differently? All of that. Bring it forth. Don't judge it. Because that's what we will do when we're in the therapy session is, okay, you got a grief journal? I'll tell them, get a grief journal, date it, write down. Today I felt, and just let it go. Write it out. And then we'll come together and look at ways that you can process. That's our favorite term. But process just means, what does this mean? What does this mean? And what do I need to do with it?
Okay. Because I have known people that have lost loved ones decades ago. And when that date comes around, it's almost like it's recycled. What would you suggest as a exercise, the process they should go through if they know that they become weepy or a little morose or whatever, you know, during that season?
For sure.
When and I call it seasonal grief.
Yes, absolutely. We talk a lot about rituals. loss.
Yes.
So what kind of ritual could you do for the beloved?
Yes.
Because that's what they
Okay.
are, the beloved. And so can you bring in other family members? I love to hear the different things that people are doing, whether it be a balloon release or a dinner. What did they like to eat? What did they cook? You may not even know how to cook it that way. But
Yes.
what kind of dinner could you have in celebration of the memories?
Yes.
So if we could kind of start to work towards that and plan it out. That gives your mind and your nervous system some calming, right?
Yes.
And self-care.
Yes.
Taking care of yourself. A lot of people will say, okay, I need a session because next Wednesday is the day. Fine. And what does the day still mean to you? Just say it. It's okay. Whatever that means. And now what can we do to make sure you're paying some extra attention, that you're hugging you, right? And I know, right, because I have to, then I step away from therapists. It's called self-disclosure, but it's appropriate. When I get someone with a mother, I'm there. Now I'm not the professional. I understand you, and it makes such a big difference because I've lost a mother.
Yes. Yes.
Dad, got you.
Yeah.
I've lost a father.
Yes,
So
yes.
now we can go back to clinical, but please understand, I hear you with
Yes,
this ear.
yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
that makes a big difference.
Not only with the ear,
The heart.
which is the mind, but with the heart.
Absolutely.
And so there's that feeling. You said something that I think is key. Now, when they have transitional services, often written on the program, it says life celebration.
Sure does.
Celebration.
Yes.
And you said that for those that are doing the annual,
Yeah.
what they do, that is not to their highest good, you said, have the celebrate it, bring
Yes.
other people in.
Yes.
So is that the joy of living? That we should celebrate those things that are going to happen in life.
Absolutely.
And it is something that I thank you for being that consummate professional that is with that hearing ear and open heart to help those of us in our community that need this. And I pray that as you have watched this, that if you have this need, that or you see others that do, don't suppress it. Let it happen, let it flow. There are those willing ears and open hearts. In the Black profession, as they say, she may have walked a couple of steps on your path.
Yes.
So there is that professionalism, but also that empathy that exists in that healing path. Is there a number or a website, or if someone wants to get in contact with you, Dr. V?
Yes, they can just, I have,
Give us your full name.
for sure.
Yeah.
So it's Veronica Walker-Douglas, and they can feel free. And even if I can't personally help, I'm big on referrals because I'm a
Yes.
social worker at heart.
Yes,
So I'm going to
yes.
get you where you need to
All
be.
right.
The phone number would be 708-218-2271. We just do an old-fashioned phone call because people
Okay.
get all lost on websites.
One more time.
708-218-2271, Veronica Walker-Douglas.
Thank you so very much, Dr. V. It has been a pleasure. And I thank you for, again, watching Conversations with the Citizens, Getting Your House in Order. Bren Sharif, your host.
Remember to make plans to join us again next week for Conversations with the Citizen, the place where real news can be heard.